So I didn't really give this part of the movie much thought until just today, basically. And it's that we only cover a specific time frame of Bob Dylan's life compared to many other biopics that seem to do the whole life or a much broader range. And that's a very clear decision by James Mangold here to focus on from the start of his career to when things changed. And I think that's really good. Like, it's a solid story. There's a clear path and I guess a message about his career and what he did in this time period. It keeps the story a little bit simpler. It focuses it up more, but it also makes it a little bit complicated, I think, because there's a lot in this movie that I'm just like, wait, so what's going on? I was trying to come to terms with exactly what was going on at times. It felt like a lot of the same stuff. I'm like, why are characters feeling certain ways? But then quite often, shortly after I thought that, it would be answered. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why. And then realizing after talking to somebody, it goes, oh, this is just showing us how much Bob Dylan really cared about the music and couldn't really talk to other people, wasn't good with relationships. And when you look at it through that lens, it's like, oh, this makes sense. Because Timothy Chalamet plays that really well. He's a really good Bob Dylan. He looks the part here. He sounds like Bob Dylan, at least from the songs I've heard. They cover what they need to cover. Um, Maybe it could have been shortened a little bit. I thought, though, that it was well made. It definitely kept my attention. And I liked how there was one point I'm like, geez, Bob's just being a dick. Like, what is going on here? And then after that, a character says, Bob, you're a dick. I just thought that was really funny. And then I couldn't help but after realizing that he really just had a problem talking to people, I'm like, hey, nerds, this is Sheldon. And also just at the end talking about with the change of how people viewed his music and old versions versus new versions. I'm like, hey, this is another version of fandom toxicity. So I could relate this to certain things that we have in nerdom and fandom, but just overall great performances, great music. It was definitely interesting, learned things I didn't know about. And yeah, I don't think it's fantastic, but I still had a good time and I can recommend it to people if you're interested.